Hi guys, it's me. I thought I'd come on here and do a little live because I haven't done one for about 20,000 years, and I wanted to talk about my weight gain and I suppose just my weight loss story up to this point, because a lot has happened and I feel like I've been a lot less active on here in terms of going live and talking to you guys like this. And yeah, I'm gonna make like a proper YouTube video about it and maybe just have it a bit more structured, but I just want to talk about it now because I was in the middle of making that YouTube video. I didn't have enough storage on my phone. I'm getting a new phone that I'll be able to record like a proper YouTube video on, but I wanted to talk about it today because I'm just in the schmood. But yeah, I just wanted to recap everything because today is my first day not being in the office, and yeah, it just led me to think about like, why did I gain weight? And obviously the simple and most direct answer is because I started eating more food. But I was just like, what were the things that led me to gain weight? Because I kept my weight off for quite a long time, well, for 3/4 years. I lost weight in 2020. I think I got to my lowest weight in 2021 and I didn't regain any weight until 2024. So for me personally, that was like the longest time that I've kept weight off. And yeah, I'll just start from the beginning. So like you guys know, I lost loads of weight in 2020 and I built so many like healthy habits that I really, really enjoyed. Like it wasn't even like I hated it. Like I felt like a bit of a fraud when I was losing weight because I was like, am I supposed to be enjoying this? Like, don't get me wrong, there were some days where the scale was doing an absolute madness and I wanted to cry and scream, and I did cry and I did get really upset, but for the most part, like I really wasn't that hungry. And I was doing 1,600 calories, which in hindsight now that I like lift weights and I'm so active, like that's not a lot of calories, but I didn't find it difficult. Like I was like, damn, is this do you guys remember that meme where it's like the baby and the baby's screaming and crying because it doesn't want to go into the water, and then like the water's like this deep? Like that's how I felt like I was with the weight loss process. I was like, once I got into the rhythm of it, I really, really enjoyed it. But there were things that were happening in 2020 that I have acknowledged since. Like, for example, I am somebody who thrives being alone. And I didn't know that until 2020. I didn't know that like when I'm on my own, I don't know, I just have this like, I can pep talk myself because I'm quite a I think positive person. I can't see, I'm sorry guys, I'm using the other side of my camera, so if anyone's talking, someone waving, hi, I'm sorry, I can't see anyone, just use the mirror. We'll try the ghetto, but I can't see because my front camera is absolutely shambolic, or yeah, so I can't use that one because I'll just look like a literal blur. But hey, if anyone's asking questions, I'll check with my mirror as I go. But yeah, so what was I saying? I was saying that I realized that I'm somebody who, when I'm by myself, it's like I pep talk myself. Yeah, that's what I say. Because I'm quite a words of affirmation type person, like a friend. Like to my friends, to my family, like I do like to say positive things. That's just me. Like if someone looks nice, I tell them they look nice. And that's just how I am. And I feel like it's because I want that, like selfishly, but no, also because it feels nice. Like it feels nice to tell people when they look nice. And for me personally, I love when when someone says like a compliment to me. It just makes me feel so good and so seen. So anyway, I clocked in 2020 that when I'm alone, I'm like quite dangerous. Do you know what I mean? Like I can get very disciplined. And so it was like the perfect conditions for me in lockdown where there was no shops open. I was on my own, you know, in lockdown. And I had this goal and I was able to work towards it. And what I also did without even really realizing is I took away like any stress. And for me, I love people. I'm a people person, but people stress me out. And in lockdown, there was no people to stress me out. And there was a couple of situations that intuitively I just knew like, that person has pissed me off, but I'm not going to deal with it right now because I can't afford to need to emotionally like go back to food. That like I can't afford the fallout. Do you know what I mean? Because I know that as somebody that has used food to cope with emotions for so many years, like I know that if something happens that's too much for me to handle, I may go back to food. That was my fear anyway. So I just didn't handle some situations. I just left them basically on the back burner, and I prioritized my weight loss. Anyway, so I do feel like my environment was a big factor in why I lost weight. And then the second thing was, like I said, the stress. And then I just think it was the ability to do like so many reps. Like that really helped me, just being able to like rep it out. I'm going to check if you guys are saying anything. just a hello. But yeah, so just being able to rep it out was really, really helpful for me. So why I gained weight. So I feel like when I first joined my job, so also when during lockdown I wasn't working, I was working from home, and then I wasn't working, and then I got a job which was mostly like work from home and like 2 days in the office. And I did find those 2 days in the office a bit difficult, but they weren't crazy because that job wasn't that stressful. Like, it was pretty stress free. And then in April 2023 I got a new job, and like the environment of that job was so different to the other jobs, in just that there was so much food around, like, and it had just had a culture of like people eating food, and I don't need any convincing to eat food. So like it just wasn't conducive to me keeping my weight off. Anyway, I'm getting off track. But yeah, so in my new office I was a lot more stressed out, but I managed to kind of keep a lot of my habits. So I managed to stay in the gym, I managed to keep my food at sort of on a level. So what I would do is like mostly eat healthy, mostly track my food, and then some days I would go way over, but I would keep my weight within a certain range. And that range was like, so I went from 250 to 150, and I immediately put on, like, as soon as I stopped doing my diet, I put on like maybe 10 pounds. And so my slim weight that you guys will see me is maybe like 160, between 160 to 170. Like, that's where I stayed, and that's like where I kept myself. So if I started to get towards the 170, I would bring myself back down and just try to stay within that little sort of window. And that worked for me. And now in hindsight, like, you know, was it 5 years later after losing weight, I feel like I should have done maybe a better job at getting out of that cycle of like some days eating the right amount of food, and then other days eating way more food. Like, basically it's just not having so many days, or not allowing myself to have days where I just binge and overeat. Like, it's like practicing the old habits. It's like practicing the old way of being. I needed to stop that. Anyway, so yeah, I started my job. I kept most of my habits, but then I started to eat different food as well. That was what happened. So like, people made fun of my food, and I think that was one of the things that I really enjoyed about lockdown, is that nobody commented on my food. I'm a really big character, and I'm very opinionated, and like, it probably is my own fault because I have an opinion about every single thing. And so, and I think aside from that, naturally people talk about your food, people always comment on other people's food. And so yeah, people were commenting on my food. They were commenting on the fact that I was trying to eat plant-based, or comment on how big my salads are, what my fruit is like. And I feel like after like a certain period of time of just like dealing with that, I kind of got a bit worn down. And as I'm saying this, I'm like, like, it feels like an excuse, but like, that's how I experienced it. Like, I did feel like just overwhelmed by just like criticism and comments on my food, and I just wasn't eating like everybody else, because for me personally, like, that's not what helped me to keep my weight off. Like, I mostly ate like fruits and vegetables, and a lot. And even in the job that I had straight after lockdown, like, so the one before the one in 2023, people would comment on my food. People would say, oh my God, you eat so much, but it's all really healthy, but you eat a lot. And that's for me how I kept my weight off. It's like, I was constantly eating. I was always eating, but it was like fruits and salads and porridge and just things that were going to keep my weight off. I'm going to check on this thingy again. Is anyone asking questions? No. Okay. I'm probably just talking to myself. Is anyone here? No. Okay, it's just me. One person. Hi, one person. But yeah, so I don't know. Yes, I would eat really healthy things to keep my food off, but it would draw a lot of like comments and criticism, which at first I was able to handle, but I just feel like I stopped being able to handle it, because not only in 2023 was I in a more stressful environment, I then had some like emotional traumatic stuff happen to me. So it was like I was in the wrong environment, and then I had this like traumatic event, and then the two things sort of collided. So it's like I was in the wrong place, and then had the wrong frame of mind because of what was going on in my life. And so it was just kind of a recipe for disaster, and I wasn't able to not go back to that old way of being, of using food to comfort myself, using food to get through the day, using food to just make me feel better. And I had managed to right size food and put it in the right place, and I was really devastated. I was really, really sad about the fact that I wasn't free, like, because I had busted my butt. Like in 2020, like, I was super diligent. I was on 1600 calories a day. I did not falter. I think I had maybe 2 or 3 days in that whole year where I had more than 1,600 calories. And even then, I think I had like 1,800 calories on those days. And I went for my walks every single day. Like, I was on my stuff. And so to then be in a space like, 4 years later where I'm just betraying myself, it was just really, really painful. And I just felt really let down by myself. But I feel like that exacerbated it. So that made it worse, and that made it more difficult for me to come out of it, because now I'm in the wrong environment. I've had this traumatic thing happen. I'm feeling all this shame because I'm going back to this old way of being. And then I'm starting to not like how my body looks. And it was just like, I needed to forgive myself. I needed to say like, girl, like, it's okay. Like you like, I had to make it okay. I had to make myself like accept that I had this slip up and just get back on it. And I also, because I had been coaching as well, I also did this thing where I was just like, well, you can't be a coach, like you can't help anybody because you can't even help yourself. And I sometimes struggle with that, because I'm like, I mean, that sounds valid, that sounds right, but then at the same time, I'm also somebody who has been 250 pounds, who's gone to somebody who's never been overweight, who just doesn't get it. Like, they'll give me suggestions that I'm like, girl, like, that's not going to work for me. Like, I don't think you understand. Like, I'm tapped. I'm insane. Like, I need somebody who knows, like, just how mad in the dunya it gets, like, just how crazy stuff gets. Like, it gets crazy. Like, if you are somebody who, you've used food to cope with trauma or to cope with your life since you're a child, like, you know that, like, the cookie cutter advice from somebody who lost 10 pounds like fucking one time is not going to help you. Like, it's not what you need. Like, you need the perspective of somebody who really knows just like how crazy it gets and how to get out. And so so that's why, I still want to go back to coaching at some point. Right for now, I'm like focusing on me and getting myself back into a good place. And the other thing that being in the wrong environment taught me is that I can't afford to be in the wrong environment, which I know is like very basic, but it just made me realize that like I'm delicate, I'm sensitive, I can't throw myself into anything. Like, I'm a survivor, and I am somebody who, like I said, I never give up. But just because I can survive something doesn't mean I should put myself in the position to have to survive things. I don't know. I'm being so dramatic. It's literally a 9-to-5 job. But like, I don't know, like, for me, my spirit just doesn't align with it. And like, if my spirit doesn't align with things, as I'm getting older, I'm realizing like it's actually really dangerous. Like, when you're younger, when you're in your early 20s, you can have friends that don't really like match up with what you want. You can do things that are a bit like risky, but as you get older, you start to really know yourself, and you just can't get away with those kind of things. Like, you can't have partners that don't make sense. You can't have friends that don't actually like you. Like, you just can't afford that. Your energy is scarce, and so you have to be like a little bit more picky with like what you give and to who. And so for me, I just feel like my weight gain was a manifestation of the fact that I actually really wasn't being that careful with my energy, and I was kind of punishing myself because I'd gone to America and I had all these plans of the things that I was going to do there, and it didn't work out for me. And it didn't work out for me. See, even the way I'm telling it now is so dramatic. I didn't like it. I didn't enjoy being there. And so I came home. But for me, that felt like I'd failed at something, even though all I'd really done is just found out I didn't like something. But yeah, again, with the dramatic, let me check if anyone's saying anything. Again, with the dramatic, you have to be so protective. Yes, exactly. You do. You have to be so protective. And like, hi girl, I miss you. But yeah, you do have to be so protective. Like, so protective. And I feel like I am a really big like character. I'm a really big personality, and I don't know, I've always known that about myself, but I didn't realize that has a downside as well. And another thing that I experienced when I lost weight was like a lot of people that I thought were my friends actually did not like me, or they didn't like that I changed my body, or that I changed my levels of attractiveness. That's the only way to say it, because it sounds like mad, like it sounds really cocky and like not nice to say, but like, people are 110% nicer to you when you look good, when you lose weight and when you look better. But not everybody, like, and especially not other women. And I've really struggled with that, because like my thing is like, I it's not I want to be liked. I mean, I want to be loved, like, by the people who I like and care about. Like, I want them to love me, and I want them obviously to like me. I don't think I'm one of those people that I want everyone to like me. Like, if you don't like me, then it's like,